Game 3 of the American League Division Series between the Cleveland Guardians and the New York Yankees. The Yankees will look to Luis Severino to try and give them a 2-1 series advantage, while the Guardians counter with Tristan McKenzie and swarms of midges. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Yankees Game Night. How's it going, everybody? Well, that was certainly a tough one. I think the real question is, how does this affect LeBron's legacy? Sorry, you guys are probably not in the mood to joke around. I try not to swear too much on this channel, mainly because my mom doesn't like it. Advertisers don't like it either, but Mom, I'm going to give you a second to change the channel. What the fuck was Clark Schmidt even doing in that game? He should be throwing BP in Tampa. What the fuck just fucking happened? Unbelievable. Humongous momentum shift tonight. A lot of this is going to be on Boone. Hey, look. Usually I defend Boone because I think he's mostly done a nice job this season, but sticking with Wandy for that extra inning, not even having Holmes in there, who is your closer, and then going to Clark Schmidt. What the hell was that? Guardians have put themselves in the driver's seat and are just one victory away from the ALCS. The Yankees, meanwhile, now have their backs up against the wall and have to win tomorrow on the road with Garrett Cole. And even if they do that, they have to travel back home and win again with a bullpen game, I guess. So, this was, as Joe Girardi would say, not what you want. Tonight we saw the lineup shuffle. Gleyber Torres in the leadoff spot. Aaron Judge dropping back down into the number 2 spot. Torres actually swung at the first pitch of the game and grounded out. Pretty much the worst outcome possible as a leadoff hitter. Higashioka got the start behind the dish instead of Trevino because he worked with Severino in that 7 inning of no-hit performance that Severino had at the end of the season. And so a lot of people were, pretty amped up about seeing Severino tonight. I was. Knowing what kind of energy he brings to the table, the type of attitude he typically brings to the table, the type of stuff he brings to the table. A lot of us were anxious to see how he would perform. First postseason start since 2019. He did pitch in the bullpen game, or in the bullpen in the wild card game last year. But it was evident from the very beginning that he was too pumped up. Everything was high. That's a symptom of overthrowing the baseball. Roger Clemens used to have the same issue on occasion, but he settled down. He showed a lot of guts. Guts that I wasn't sure he had, quite frankly. So tonight's not on him. Bullpen coughed it up. Man, I had a kick-ass show for you guys if we had happened to pull that one out. Yankees went quietly in the top of the first. Another strikeout for Judge, his 8th and 9 at-bats in the series. But that was rock bottom for him. He started to get his swing together after that, but maybe too little, too late. Stephen Kwan led off the game with a double for the Guardians. That immediately put pressure on Severino. Guardians ended up getting a run on 3 hits, including a single that a good shortstop probably would have turned into a double play, but IKF tried to catch it on the line, and it just ate him up. Severino ended up throwing 31 pitches in the first inning. 31 pitches. Guardians got another run in the second and had Severino on the ropes the whole time. He was at 55 pitches through 2. Oswaldo Cabrera, though, doubled in the top of the third. His first hit of the game. 2 batters later, Aaron Judge finally made contact. And if we had won, this is where I'd normally play the home run sound effect, but this is what losing sounds like. Absolutely titanic blast over the center field wall, 449 feet. Just a mammoth shot. And terrible call by Bob Costas. Kind of disappointing. Good thing that Judge wasn't benched like someone suggested yesterday on the show. But that definitely kind of flipped the switch for the Yankees. It flipped the switch for Severino. Changed the mood in the stadium. Things got a lot quieter. Severino settled down in the third. He had another easy inning in the fourth. Harrison Bader led off the top of the fifth with a line drive single up the middle. And then 2 batters later, the Wizard of Oswaldo Cabrera, smoked a home run, a long home run, and he took his time watching it. Second hit of the game, 10 rows deep, got his money's worth. Took him about 5 minutes to start jogging to first base. Severino worked a 1-2-3 fifth inning. That was huge. When you take the lead, you want your pitcher to come back and give you a nice shutdown inning in as few pitches as possible. He did that. Guardians bounced back in the sixth. They got a couple of hits and knocked Severino out of the game. Trevino came in and allowed an inherited runner to score to make it 4-3. All things considered, though, nice job by Severino. He kept the Yankees in the game. Final line, 5 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Top 7, Yankees got the run right back. Lord Bader, Harrison Bader with his second home run of the series. And, had the Yankees won this game, he would be probably, you don't get an ALDS MVP, but he would be the guy that I'd be looking at as the prime performer of this series so far. I apologize to Brian Cashman for busting his balls about that trade, but hey, it's my job. Also, outstanding performance by Jonathan Loaizaga out of the pen tonight. He's looked really good. Peralta came in and got Naylor as the tying run in the bottom of the 7th, and then he worked a perfect 8th inning. So I don't necessarily blame Boone for giving it a shot, but I really think you should have gone to Clay Holmes right there. Clay Holmes has been your closer for most of the season. I get it. He's coming back off an injury, and he's not always 100% reliable with the command. But, he's earned it. And he's a ground ball machine. It's really tough to fight off a 100-mile-an-hour sinker with the kind of movement he gets. I would have gone to him, but they decided to stick with Peralta, gave up a couple of blue hits, and then with 1 out, Boone went to Clark Schmidt, biggest spot of his career, and what do you know? He fucking choked because he's a minor league pitcher. And the Guardians walk it off, showing off the value of contact hitting once again, and take the game 6-5.
Oh my gosh. Does that suck?
I'm going to try and get the box score up for you guys, but let's take some of your comments. Laura V says, "What bullpen?" Pedro says, "Why pull Loaizaga so early?" Yeah, I don't know. I think probably because you want to use him tomorrow and the next night. But I've always felt like in the playoffs, you have to manage to win that game. He was clearly dominating. Sleeping Angel says, "I can't believe this." You and me either, pal. You and me either. Rob Freeman says, "Tonight is on our closer who's in Miami partying." I'm sure he's got that little smirk on his face that he always gets when he gives up a big home run in the playoffs. But, it's really on the Yankees organization for even bringing the guy in. He's never been made of the right stuff for New York. And he totally let us down tonight. And Stone Cold with Dono says, "This is what happens when you don't have a closer." True story. True story. Damian says, "IKF coughed it up." IKF had a tough night. Amigo Herbolito says, "Say goodbye to Judge." I wouldn't blame Judge for leaving this organization. I really wouldn't. They wait forever to bring up prospects. They try and outthink the room in big spots. Remember starting Davy Garcia in Game 2 of the division series against the Rays a couple of years ago, only to watch him get bombed? Unreal. Pod Cal says, "And we got the Astros coming up if we survive this." If we survive this. And I wouldn't hold your breath on surviving this. Victor Ortiz says 7 days off in total since the season ended, and Clay Holmes can't pitch back-to-back. Are you effing kidding me? Appreciate it. Carlos says IKF is no shortstop. Definitely a really, really tough night, tough series for IKF. Dr. Van Nostrand says Peraza should be the shortstop, and I agree.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Let's take a look at the box score, this ugly, ugly box score. Man, I would have had such a great show if this ball club could have held on to a lead. I had highlights and everything. I was ready to go. So the Guardians out hit the Yankees 15-5. I mean, that's right there, shows you something. One, the value of making contact and putting the ball in play and not striking out. Although, to be fair, they did strike out more than the Yankees did tonight. They struck out 10 times. Yankees struck out 9. Interesting. Although they had 41 more at bats, so they must have walked less. No. Yeah, they walked 0 times. The Yankees walked 2 times. Interesting. Hey, look. This was an awful one. This is going to go down as one of the most painful losses in postseason memory for me. Torres 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot. Judge 1 for 4 with the 2-run home run, hitting .083 in the series. Rizzo 0 for 3. Stanton 0 for 4. Donaldson 0 for 4. Kiner Falefa 0 for 4. Bader 2 for 4. He's got that it factor, the clutch gene. Higashioka 0 for 2 with a walk. Cabrera 2 for 3 with 2 ribbies. The big home run. And then the pitching side of things, McKenzie, Yankees got to him. They got 4 runs off of him. They even got a run off the bullpen, which hadn't been done to the Guardians this year, or in the postseason. And just couldn't hang on. Clark Schmidt, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing putting in Clark Schmidt? What is his numbers for the year? Let's take a look at Clark Schmidt for the year. All right, so 3.12 ERA, but geez, I just don't have any faith in him. I mean, I feel like a lot of that is soft. Like, I feel like he hasn't pitched against tough opponents. This is a tough one, man. It's going to be tough to sleep. Peter Ty says IKF is out of position. He's not a shortstop, and I couldn't agree more. Man, this really felt like a game like we could have won and we should have won, and just shit the bed, man. I've got so many comments that I can't keep up with all the super donos, so if I miss it, I apologize. We've got 1,150 people in the chat, and so, it's going really fast, and I can't catch all of them. So I'm just going to skim through and grab what I can. I saw the Earl of Demise put in a dono, so I'm going to give that, but I didn't see what it was. It passed by. So William says, hate the TBS coverage. It's terrible. It was not good tonight. And look, I defended Bob Costas the other day because, I grew up listening to Bob Costas, but he has just been so bland, so dry. It really makes you miss guys like Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill and even Matt Vasgersian. Hell, I would take Joe Buck at this point. He's just so dry. He sounds like he's ready to hang it up. I don't know. Maybe he should. J. Moss says, the irony of the Yankees losing to small ball and situational hitting. They brought it up, must have been 10 times during the game, that the team that hits the most home runs almost always wins in the playoffs. Almost always. Not tonight. Wiffle Ball says he's a Mets fan right now. Look, if you jump ship on your team after a tough loss, then you were never a fan to begin with. So if that's what you're going to do, then you do it. But that's not what this community is about. Spaghetti, my favorite food, says, okay, I calmed down. It ain't over till it's over. We came back against a better Cleveland team with a worse team before. Appreciate that.
Excellent.
That being said, I have a suspicion that tomorrow night we're going to be doing the final game recap of the season. And it's going to be because Garrett Cole served up a 3-run home run because something happened. There was a dog barked or somebody ran on the field or, a call didn't go his way or it starts to rain for 5 seconds. I just have that feeling. And, I've just seen it too many times this year. Evil Magnitude says Cashman has got to go. Nico says trade Clark too early, or too late rather, to do that. Time to do that. He should never have been on this roster. Colin is devastated, and I agree. Brandon says playing not a shortstop at shortstop and not a left fielder in left field cost us. Who would have thunk it? Appreciate that. I'm not going to hold Cabrera against, or hold the thing in left against Cabrera. That was a tough play, the bloop. But also, he did a nice job on offense. He's in there for his bat really as much as his glove. And he hit a 2-run home run and a double. So I can't hold Cabrera accountable for that. But IKF, we've been saying all year, he's not a shortstop. And he's shown it to us in this series, very first play. Peraza should have been on this roster. What the hell's the point of having a top prospect and calling him up just to sit him? Or just to not even leave him, or not even put him on the roster? I'm just absolutely blown away with how poorly this team handles their prospects. Year in and year out, they ruin guys. Phil Hughes, Java Chamberlain, frickin', they could never get, what's his name? There's another prospect that they had that it's escaping me right. Oh, Greg Bird. They could never get him going after he got his injury. The way they handle prospects is tough. Miguel Andujar ended up giving him away. Just awful. James Bryn says Boone should be fired. You're going to see calls for that if the Yankees lose this series. Jason says, why is anyone surprised? I think people are just devastated. And Home World Hub Media, always difficult for me to say, says Cashman is not a serious GM. Boone is not a serious manager. This is not a serious team. Or series GM. Series GM and then serious manager. I'm not sure if you were trying to confuse me there, but it worked. My eyes are like, at this point of the night, I need a producer. Francis Chalemi says 5 hits and 9 strikeouts. Tough offensive performance. Dante says Cole needs to throw a gem tomorrow. But even if you do that, you still got to figure out a way to win Game 5. And you got no pitching left. And then you're taking on Houston. If you can somehow pull a miracle out of your ass and win the next 2 games, which they're not going to do. Gabrielle says, I think the boys left their bats in New York. Well, they did hit 3 home runs tonight. And Rudy De Leon says, Boone is not fit to manage this team. I'm seeing a lot of that in the chat. Nick Cannon says we don't have a closer. Well, we did, but he's down in Miami because he doesn't care about this team. Also because he sucked this year. Clay Holmes did a nice job this year. I don't know why in the world he wouldn't have pitched the 9th inning. I even tweeted before they said that Peralta was coming back in, I said, I need Clay Holmes to be Clay Holmes tonight. That's all we needed. We just needed Clay Holmes to get in there and throw a couple of ground balls. Come on. Awful. Elliot Katz says, that shift. I wonder what John Sterling had to say. I thought it was interesting that they shift Ramirez. The guy hits it all over the park. Line to line. You can't shift Ramirez. Unbelievable. Nick says, season ended on that first bloop in the 9th. Season's not over, but that felt like a gut punch. It feels like all that's left is the paperwork. Godfather says, Bader hitting leadoff tomorrow. I hope so. Been swinging the bat well. Stone Cold says, Stanton looked bad tonight. Definitely not one of his better performances. We're going to need him to be nuclear Stanton for the next couple of days. A couple of positives. 1, Aaron Judge got his swing back. He hit that long home run, and then he hit a fly out that came up just short. It was warning track. And if that goes out of the park, it's a different story tonight. And if he can start swinging the bat the next couple of days, we got a shot. He can carry it for a couple of days. He hits 3 home runs in the next 2 days. You get a little bit of production elsewhere in the lineup. You're okay. Got to have Cole pitch and step up tomorrow. Miguel says they got 15 hits against us. Well, that's, part of that was early in the game. Severino was throwing batting practice. And then, late in the game, they're getting all sorts of bloops because they don't strike out that much. They make contact. And Dr. Hitskin says the midges were back. Every year they show up around this time. Douglas Rowell says, IKF and Donaldson, one of Trashman's worst trades. Asking Argenis is asking me, do you think we can win 2 in a row? Of course I think we can win 2 in a row. Do I think we're going to win 2 in a row? I do not. I think we're going to lose tomorrow night. I'm sorry. I know you guys tune in for positivity. I don't like the matchup tomorrow night. They just saw Garrett Cole, who's a home run fucking machine. And I don't think he's got that whatever it takes, the it factor that some guys have to step up in a big spot tomorrow. I just don't think he's got it. Sorry for all the profanity tonight. I'm in a rare mood. But, hey, look, we got almost 1,300 people in the chat. That's a new record, so applause to you guys. Tough one. Really tough one. Anthony's, I don't even try and pronounce that, Suenza maybe, says, I wish Hal would grow a pair and let Cashman go. And John Laycock says it's rebuild time. I mean, look, the series is not over, so let's not get too down. But I do have a feeling that Norsec Gaming is right, that Josh Naylor or someone like him is going to hit a 450-foot bomb off of Cole tomorrow. He is, as much as little things going wrong can affect him, I just feel like midges or just something's going to go wrong tomorrow. I just have that feeling. I hate to be doom and gloom, but this game did not put me in a positive state of mind. Yankees should have won this ball game. This one's on Aaron Boone. It's on Clark Schmidt. It's on whoever the fuck decided Clark Schmidt should be on the roster. Awful. Awful performance. Awful. All right, guys, we are going to call it a night. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even know what to say. James Augustine with the final comment of the night says, analytics has ruined this team. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully with better news.